Hello, my friends. Jacob is here one more time, and welcome to a wonderful afternoon. We have a lot to get into. We have a lot to discuss. I don't even know if this is a normal show, because it seems like every time I do a show, it seems like the subject matter just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Time travel? What? Yeah. We have quite a bit to talk about today. World Cup just went down. Big news all around. Argentina pulls it off, winning by penalties. Take a look at that thumbnail, by the way. The two stars of the show, Messi and Mbappe, their numbers 10 and 10. In Strong's, it means the house of Baal. That's right. I hope you're happy that you've pressed play, because this is going to be a good one. And I'm in rare form. That's right. It's been a long week. I welcome you all. I thank you for hitting the like button and telling me in the live chat. I'm going to come on over here and say hi to everybody. Telling me if you can hear me okay, because that's an issue if you can't. It's an issue if you can't. Whew. There's just so much. It's like every time I turn around, I feel like there's something weirder and weirder and weirder. Shetland Pony says, Jacob, I can hear you loud and clear, so I'm ready to go. Makes me happy. Thank you for hitting a like. Let's get some more people in here. I'm laughing because, it's no wonder that people think I'm kooky, right? It's no wonder that, I can contact people from my high school and everything else, and they don't want anything to do with me. Nothing to do with me, because they see the thumbnails and they see the things that I talk about, and they're like, this guy's weird. Okay. You're all lost, people. You're all lost. By the end of the show, I think that this is going to wake some people up. It's going to wake some people up for sure. Big news. Big news. Okay. Argentina beats France in penalty kicks. It was really 3-3. I mean, but because of the penalties, it turns out to be 4-2. Really crazy stuff. You know what's crazy? You know what's really crazy to me? It's the fact that I didn't know anything about the World Cup. I'm going to be 52. This is the first year I've ever heard about the World Cup. This is the first year that the World Cup was ever a thing for me. I know that football is huge. Soccer. I get yelled at when I tell people in my home it's called football. They're like, it's soccer. I know. I'm in the States, so it's soccer here. World Cup was never a thing. Why all of a sudden is the World Cup such a thing? Wait till we get to the end of the show, and you're going to find out why it may be important. Because there's a lot of weird coincidence. Weird coincidence going down. Stuff that I don't think people have discovered yet. I really wanted to tweet it out, but I'm like, I don't want people to scoop me on the things that I discovered. So you're going to hear it first here. There's something to do with this number, 33. 33. 33 is a big deal. The number itself, there's 33 vertebrae in the spinal column. Jesus was 33, right? When he gave up the ghost, began his ministry at 30, 33, no more. Why am I talking about this? It'll make sense. Let's go back to the fact that the two main stars of this epic battle that went down just yesterday, for eternity, Argentina 3, France 3. The World Cup final For eternity. I thought that was a really weird thing for them to write. For eternity. But it makes sense. You'll see. They both wear the number 10. In fact, in like all of the advertisements leading up to the World Cup, you saw 10-10. Remind me of that station, 10-10 wins. 10-10, right? So, of course, what do? I go to Strong's. What's 10-10, Strong's? It's the house of Baal. Baal! Like Baal and Siaga. Like Baal that we've been talking about on the show for I don't know how long. The fake God. The fake Jesus. It also means a spiritual awakening, which I think is pretty cool. But Messi, or Messi, I don't know how to pronounce it because, once again, not a football fan, not a soccer fan. Never have been. I had to do a lot of research to just get the ins and the outs for this show. But he's like the GOAT now, right? He's the greatest of all time. Isn't that funny how they use the word GOAT for the greatest of all time? Goats and sheep, the goats, they're put off to the left. They're not supposed to enter the kingdom. The sheep's, on the other hand, because they look a lot alike, but they're not the same. Like the wheat and the tares. It's interesting. So the goat is Messi. Messi. Yeah. He had a lot of witches that were behind him, by the way. I don't know if anybody, I'm going to come on over to the chat. I don't know how many of you saw that there were a bunch of witches that were involved in praying and doing all sorts of witchcraft to get the curses off Messi so that it's pronounced. Angelina says Messi is pronounced Messi, so I guess I'm getting it right. All right, right on. Yeah, I mean, New York Times just did an entire article on the army of witches that were behind Argentina's World Cup victory. Aloha, patron whiskey. I'm in the chat. I come on over and I check from time to time. By the way, if you ever do a super chat and I miss you, it's okay. Just email me so I can thank you properly. And do me a favor. While we're here and we have this moment, will you do me the kindness of hitting the like button? By hitting the like button, let me tell you what that does for YouTube, all right? Because we're in the beginning of this show, which is going to get very, very cool very, very shortly. And I'd like to have a lot more people here, just if you just X out of chat and just hit like. If you like me, if you've been around a while and you know that I deliver and that I'm a decent guy, I would appreciate it because it would be helpful. The more likes you get, it tells YouTube, hey, recommend this video. And then later you leave your comments and let people know. But yeah, this is interesting about the witches. It's interesting because it's all Twitchcraft. Remember I just talked about this on my last show? Just incredible. I feel like at times, I feel like we're all a little bit under the spell, you know, like when you spell things out, there's a reason for it. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. Words have power. The tongue is a sword. That's why if you take the S off of the beginning, you put it at the end, you get words. So there's something to the idea that people can be casting spells. And today it's kind of like all the rage, sadly. But you know what's really weird is that there's a lot of spiritual innuendo going down. There's a lot of religion that's being shared and broadcast worldwide, and some people are up in arms about it. The World Cup, it was a nail biter. I didn't watch it. I wasn't one of them. I'm not going to be like the people on Twitter and pretend that I'm like a huge fan and pretend like, wow, this is insane. I didn't know anything about it. I'm not a soccer fan, never have been. But looking back at what's happened over the last 24 hours, I see that this is something that has reached the world, and it's something that needs to be talked about. Especially when the lead guy, the head guy, Messi, Lionel, the center, some people are saying it's a disgraceful moment because of what they made him wear. I don't know if they made him wear it. Some people he was told he had to wear it. You're in Qatar. If you saw the opening ceremony for Qatar, it was very weird with Morgan Freeman and the guy who he didn't have any legs. It was very strange. It was very strange. The whole opening ceremony, very, very, very sus. Has to do with a moment in time that we're at right now where things just don't make sense. But yet, I guess the people that are in charge, they're bringing it to a head. They're bringing it to a finale. The big problem is what he was wearing. He was wearing a robe, a veil. I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong. I reached out to my awesome neighbor, Muhammad, whose wife, by the way, up for Miss Pakistan. What's up with that? I was going to shout them out, but I didn't get any information. There was something going on, Miss Pakistan USA, happening yesterday. It's my neighbor. So proud of them. But I reached out to Muhammad yesterday and I said, what's the deal with the Bisht? I think that's what it's called, the Bisht. He was wearing this Bisht. It is it's a veil, but it's a very, very symbolic garment that is worn during very important times. Important like a wedding, like Eid, which is a moment of sacrifice. Eid, it's a Muslim holiday, huge holiday. All stems around Abraham and Isaac. If you're Muslim, it's Ibrahim and Isaac, where he lays down the sacrifice of his son. That's what Eid is all about. It took place, I think, in July. But that's the garment that is worn during this holy event. Usually worn during weddings. Now, if you're a Christian, you probably understand that a wedding is symbolic of the wedding of the Lamb. The supper, the wedding supper that takes place at the end of days, where we're supposed to get our garments ready and be ready for the wedding that takes place. So he's wearing this Bisht. I probably am pronouncing it wrong. Some people have a problem with it because they're like, what are you doing, usurping? You're it would be like the Pope putting on a robe of Messi. It would be like the Pope putting on a robe at the end and declaring something. We're in a moment of change, just so you know. I don't know if you know anything about the Abrahamic Accords that Jared Kushner was all about, and Trump is a big deal. They call it the one world religion. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know. But all of these mainstream religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they all stem from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Abrahamic house, the Abrahamic Accords. All of this is a way to bring all of these different faiths together under one roof. Why would you do that? You would do that because something's coming. And you need to make sure you're in charge of people's minds and hearts and souls. So the World Cup taking place in Qatar and all of this stuff is very symbolic. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, all of these things, they are becoming very, very predominant, especially with the old WAR that's going on with the, hey, it's a bird, it's a crane. With Mother Russia. All of these things getting a lot more power, all of these things starting to come together. Interesting. Interesting. It's almost like Islam is having its day. Islam, which I believe means, if you're Islamic, tell me in the comments section. I think it means the teaching of peace. I could be wrong. I don't know. But the fact that he was wearing this garment had a lot of people very, very stressed out and very, very upset. Kind of silly. But I do believe it's symbolic. But you know what else I think is symbolic is the fact that his name itself, everybody can't get away from his name. Holy mackerel, right? Hey, thanks for the super chat, Leezy Now. Leezy Now says, stay kooky. We all sound kooky when we're putting together the puzzle pieces of God's master plan. What a time to be alive. I agree. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. Well, Lionel means young lion. And of course, you can think that that means the lion of the tribe of Judah. And that's a picture of Christ because, of course, Messi means the Messiah. So you have the young lion who is the Messiah. Who, by the way, as you can see right there by my friend on Twitter, has been pictured, sporting a lot of the Illuminati stuff. Not saying that he is connected or anything else, but he's winking the eye and he's got the all-seeing eye on his bicep there. And then, he's got the Adidas logo next to him in front of a goat, and he's wearing a panda bear. So there's a lot of weird stuff going down with Messi. It's Messi, right? It's Messi. Number 10. 10, which 1010 means House of Baal. It's weird. Because you got I think it's his teammate. I had to talk to Antone, my buddy Anthony, my son. He's my stepson. He's my son. But Messi and Mbappe, they went head to head. 10-10, everywhere I look, 10-10. 10-10 symbolically means completion and fulfillment, which is very cool. But in Strong's, it means the House of Baal. Almost like the House of Baal has completed its mission. Which, maybe it means nothing. Stafford, when the Rams faced the Bengals, and I made my little prediction. I said that, the Rams will win by like 7 or most likely 3, and it'll be in the very last moments of the game, and everybody will think that there's no way in heck they could win. And then, of course, they won. They won by penalty. It was a holding penalty, and they won by 3. 3. It's a very symbolic number, don't you think? 3-3. They won by penalty. Argentina, 4-2. Very strange. Mbappe ends up winning a hat trick. Hat trick. That's 3. Let me pull a rabbit out of a hat for you. Remember Elon says follow that white rabbit? We talked about this recently, about space. I was going to include a lot of stuff about Didymus and Dimorphos. The Dimorphos is that little, they used to call it Didymoon. There's this big, asteroid called Didymus, which means twin. And it has this little moon that goes around it called Dimorphos, which Dimorphos has to do almost with that word, the rapture. Like there's 2 and they're translated into something else. So there's a lot of symbolism there. But they smashed the DART mission into Dimorphos. And the news is today and yesterday, it left a huge trail. They didn't expect that. Smash into something and all of a sudden, maybe you open the door to something pretty bad. Huge tail of debris. Very strange. But I'm going to get into that in another show because otherwise we'd be talking here for hours and I need to stay on topic. Kylian Mbappe is the other half of this coin. He's the star. He does a hat trick and makes it 3-3. 3-3. 3-3 is very symbolic. Those are the numbers. Those were the scores, 3-3. In religion and mythology, in the Vedic religion at least, it has to do with the gods. Do you know the name Elohim also appears 33 times in the story of creation in Genesis? Do you know that the sun enters the 30th degree, but isn't clear for sight until the 33rd degree? 33rd degree has a lot to do with the Masons. And of course, you know, Disneyland had its Masonic club, the 33 Club. 33. I believe that friend on Twitter, Defeat the Elite, I think he made a prediction that it would be 3-3. I could have sworn I saw it, but I couldn't find it, so I didn't share it. But how interesting. Because 33 is really, that's the number when Christ laid down his life. He begins his ministry at 30. At 33, that's when he lays down his life, 33 and a half. And then he's resurrected on the third day. So we have a picture here of sacrifice. You're wearing the garment, the Bisht, that has to do with sacrifice, laying down Isaac, but then God offers a ram. The Rams, who won against the Bengals by 3. Interesting. All of this stuff, very interesting. Very interesting. But you know how it gets weird? This is where it gets really weird. Okay. So Elon Musk, of course, we're going to get into him very shortly. I think this was really interesting news. He puts out 3-3. Wow. Right? And then, of course, all over Twitter, people were sharing pictures of him and Kushner. Kushner, who's known for the Abrahamic Accords. Ooh, the plot thickens. What are the odds? Here we're talking about the Abrahamic Accords. We're talking about all this, and then all of a sudden Elon just shows up next to the guy who I put in a video recently because he said, well, I'm trying to keep in good shape because we're the last generation that's going to age. We're going to live forever, so I want to look good. That's right. That's right. Some weird stuff going on in the world, people. I don't know if any of you are paying attention, but it's like this is an exciting time to be alive. And it's time for us all to get out of our box. It's time for us all to stop living in fear. It's time for us all to just enjoy the life that God has given us and understand that we have power to do more. I'm telling you. Because I didn't even have anything to talk about just 2 days ago until this. Then it was like all this stuff just downloaded to me. Whether or not it's real, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. I believe that all of this that we're watching is very much orchestrated I believe it's all part of some kind of a ritual that is being played out in front of us. And I think we need to wake up. So it's strange to see Musk next to Kushner. That's strange. Those are two major power players. Power players that I would have put together a long time ago, and I actually did. You're going to see. I did. I put them together. What are the odds, right? What are the odds? What are the odds? All right, so let's just get into really the madness and the time travel part of this, because I put time travel in the title. So why not talk about time travel, right? Okay, let's look at this right here. About, I don't know if it was 3 months ago or whatever, I did this video about something big is about to happen. And if you notice in the background, you'll see it's all about the World Cup. And then below it, you'll see a clip from the movie The Tomorrow War, which was on Amazon Prime, which I talked about. Tomorrow War, if you didn't see it, it was a Prime movie. Chris Pratt was the lead. He shows up at a Christmas party, and at the Christmas party, they're watching the finals of the World Cup like we were. I wasn't watching the finals, just so you know. But a lot of people were, and a lot of people were pretending to be interested because I highly doubt a lot of you were interested. But Tomorrow War, I think it was released in 2019. Could be wrong. About a couple of months ago, I talked about how it was strange to me that the game that went down had to do with Qatar in 2022. It was almost like they put the movie into the future. And into the future, they really did this, which was strange. And we talked about it. But what really I thought was so incredibly cool about all of this was the fact that they cut to a picture of the game. And if you notice in the lower left-hand corner, it'll say FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. I think this was from 2019. And you'll see two players. One player is running towards the goal, number 18. His name is Jesus, by the way. The guy who's following him, number 8, and of course we know the number 8 has a lot to do with infinity. Look to the logo to the right of your screen, lower right-hand corner, the number 8, infinity. His name is Mason. So it was almost like a Freemason was chasing Jesus as Jesus was trying to score. But then what ends up happening in the movie is there's a breach in time and people from the future enter into the field and tell everybody we're in a war with aliens and we need your help. And it's strange. So I talked about all of this being strange, and I thought that it was incredibly coincidental because it's like, how did they know? What was the logo and all of these things? Like, really, that's some forward thinking for a movie ahead of its time to then reveal something in 2022. So I did a whole show about this. And what's strange to me is that 3-3, the 3 against 3, the teams 3 against 3 in the final moments where Elon says, wow, 3-3, wow, 3-3. I think to myself this morning, I say, oh my God, I did a whole show about Tomorrow War, which has to do with time travel. Because, look, there's this thing called the Mandela effect. I have a whole playlist. Many people are watching me right now because of the Mandela effect, which I believe is real. And I have a lot of theories as to how that could happen. Time travel being one of them. Yep. Time travel being one of them. It's actually possible, and it's in the news today, just so you know. So you have a movie called Tomorrow War about Qatar and the finals. And the finals that we watched, well, that was all okay, right? That was all good and done. 3-3. So I think to myself, I say, wow, wouldn't it be interesting if 3-3 was in that movie? I'm not going to tell you yet if it was, but you could probably guess. But before I go there, let's just take a look at the right-hand side of the screen. That's an aerial shot down on the field. It looks like a snake's eye, doesn't it? I mean, wouldn't you say? Of all things, doesn't it look like a snake's eye? A little dark, a little weird. Like, why do they make these things to look this way? That's the question. Why do they make these things to look so, I don't know, maybe there are reptilians. If you were at the Vatican, you'd probably say there were. That's a picture of the Pope right there. And it's looks a lot like a snake. Looks a lot like a reptile. This isn't anything new. Nothing new at all. Snakes. Time travel. Weirdness. So this morning, I gotta be honest, I've been a little down in the dumps lately. Just feeling like time is going so fast, and I don't know exactly what to share to encourage people because I get so many emails, and some people are saying they're doing great, some people are not doing so great. And I really want people to do better. But who am I, right? I don't tell you to come to me for the answers. I say go to God. But I want to be an example, a witness, if you will, so I can show you that everything's working together for the good. So here you have the whole world watching the World Cup, which is huge. 3-3. Wow, Musk says. 3-3. And I think back to the video I did a couple of months ago, like 3 months ago. Tomorrow War. I say, how weird would it be if it was like the final moments of the game that they're playing and the score is 3-3? Because that's not a normal score. Take a look. Lower left-hand corner. It was 3-3. So this movie about time travel that takes place at the finals in Qatar, that has a Freemason chasing Jesus to the goal, the score was 3-3 when everything goes to pot. When all the madness happens, when all the craziness breaks forth. That's totally sus, man. Let me just put that up there again. How do they predict that? Can somebody tell me? We got 1,500 people. We don't have nearly enough people that hit like. Do me a favor and hit like so we can get some more people watching. I know it's early in the day. 33 is that number. I just find it so strange. So strange. It was like I had like a little voice inside me saying, because I looked on my phone and I couldn't see the score. So I was like, you know what? I'll go back and I'll watch the movie. So I go upstairs before I go to the gym this morning, go to Amazon Prime and I press play. and I start to watch it. And they show this one short clip, and you got to like pause it quick. 3-3. Wild. Just wild. As Carl says, the score isn't the point. But I think that the point is about to be revealed. I don't quite know exactly what all this means, but I do know that at the exact same time that all of this is happening, a movie about time travel, that where like all hell breaks out at the World Cup in 2022, where Jesus is being chased by the Freemason. We got Lionel Messi, which means the Messiah, the little lion, the Messiah, being chased by Mbappe, which means money, by the way, and his first name means war and strife. It's very interesting. Just the symbolism of it all is very interesting. But what's more interesting is that today, time travel is in the news. A physicist came up with math that shows a paradox-free time travel is actually plausible. But not just that. If you're a fan of like the Mirror or the Daily Star or the Sun, I think those are like National Enquirer. I don't know. I can't vouch for those periodicals. But they're all talking about this time traveler that's issuing this apocalyptic warning. Apocalyptic warning. One of them is like on December 20th. Another one is they're going to find some mysterious sea creature. It's going to change everything. I say cap on that. Cap means lies. If you're hip. I'm not hip, but I have hip kids. But really, the center of everything that's going down in Qatar, they got pictures of Elon everywhere. He's with all of, the royalty, and they're all walking him around, and he didn't shave for the occasion. He's probably going from one place to another. He's probably still working. This guy, he works so hard. I don't know how he does it. I got to tell you something. I'd put up a poll and say, do you want me to still be the CEO? Because how does he do it? I can barely do what I'm doing right now and take care of my family at the same time. I can barely do it. It's very difficult. It was a lot easier when I had a day job. This is very difficult for me. So I can only imagine a guy who's in charge of space and under the earth and now social media. I'd probably be like, hey, do you want me to still do the job? Voice of the people is the voice of God. I'm going to give up. Because that's what's going to happen. Because he put out a poll and he asked, should I step down? And these are the results, people. The results are, and he says he's going to abide by these results. And I don't know if you're like me, but I take Elon at his word. Like when he says he's going to do something, he does it. He didn't want to buy Twitter because it was filled with bots, but he bought it. He's a man, he continues to do what he says he's going to do. He says we're going to leave it to the people. He left it to the people. Very strange. So he put out this poll, and I don't know if all of you are aware of it, but it looks like we're going to have a new CEO of Twitter very shortly. Shortly thereafter, now I noticed, like I checked right before I went on, he hasn't really tweeted anything. But 17 hours ago, or maybe 17 and a half hours ago, he tweeted, those who want power are the ones who least deserve it. And that, my friends, that's so true. That's so true. Like if you want power, you're not the person to be in charge Definitely not. You know? Definitely not. But I'll tell you, one person that the internet seems to want to be the person who's in charge of Twitter is Snoop Dogg. Snoop Doggy Dogg to run Twitter. It's got millions of votes for him to do this thing. Millions. Do you remember I talked about Dogecoin? Doge, EGOD, Sirius, the Dog Star, Snoop Dogg. Do you find it strange? Is it just me? Am I the only one that finds it strange that Snoop Dogg is the guy? Wayne Walton. Wow, thank you very much for the super chat. Much love to you as well. I'm glad you made it on time as well. Hey, listen, we got like 1,600 people watching. Would you all just hit the like? Would you get some more people in here? Snoop Doggy Dogg is about to run Twitter. How funny would that be? Okay. The world, it's not the world that I remember from when I was a youngster. I don't know if I've been red-pilled or whatever, but I do know that almost 10 years ago, my eyes were completely opened to the farce that is what we call reality, that keeps us trapped in these little boxes that we call our lives, where we think that we can't break free, we can't do more. It's all a lie. We don't realize our own power, our own God-given power. But to see it today, it's madness. Madness. Like even the most blind and the most asleep are probably saying, what the heck is going on? So he put out this tweet, and even Mr. Bisht kind of weighed in, which was strange because him and Elon seemed to get along in the last exchange they had on Twitter. But he wrote, if you're going to keep doing stuff like this, yes, you should step down, vomit. And that's in relation to, there's a new policy, and I haven't done enough research to really look into this, so I encourage all of you to look into it. But I guess you're not allowed to share URLs for other platforms. So like, if you come on Twitter, I guess you can't say, go follow me on Facebook, or go follow me on Mastodon, or go follow me on Truth Social. I like Twitter. I'm basically on Twitter. I'm on Facebook too because of all my poetry. I'm not anywhere else because I'm like, I can barely keep up with what I'm on right now. I don't know if things have changed. Like, I don't know if that policy has changed, because there was kind of a little bit of an uproar about this. He was supposed to be Mr. Free Speech. He came in, and all of a sudden, first thing he did was, a lot of journalists got suspended. A lot of people that, were pretending to be him, they got booted. He kind of like told people, stop messing around, for sure. And I think that perhaps, one thing I will say is that I've noticed that when he notices people saying things, he listens. So I don't know if this is still a policy, but if it was, like I was concerned, and I said that makes a great business move, like why would you want people to be able to link over to your competition? I get that. But I'm not sure if it's still a thing, so look into it. But a lot of people were upset about it. Because what happened to free speech, right? That's what people were saying. Do you know who everybody wants to take over? This is the big thing, right? And I got to tell you, I get so many people sharing this with me. They're like, because Elon warned. He says, be careful. You get what you want. Be careful what you wish for. And then everybody's like, it's going to be the Trumpster. It's going to be the Trumpster. He's going to be the new CEO. I don't think he's going to be the new CEO. Especially now, when this is breaking news, people, by the way. They're going to refer him for prosecution. What's up with that? It's going to make a lot of people very upset. Very upset. It's a weird day that we're in. Wouldn't you agree? I don't know if he's going to be the CEO, the Trumpster. I'm still holding out for him to come on when he has 88 million subs, because 88 is what's the 8th letter of the alphabet. There's some weird stuff connected to 88 and Trump. But since we're looking at numbers, and since we're talking about the World Cup, and the real score, forgetting about the penalties, was 3-3, 33. I thought maybe we could take a look at the 33rd book of the Bible and just read the 3rd chapter, just for the heck of it. See what it says. That's the book of Micah. It's a short book. It's kind of a scary book, by the way. And I said, "Hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and you princes of the house of Israel, is it not for you to know judgment? Who hate the good and love the evil?" Is that the day we're in? Do people hate good and love evil? Do you think that you're free from judgment? Who pluck off their skin from off of them, and their flesh from off their bones, who also eat the flesh of my people, and flay their skin from off of them, and break their bones, and chop them in pieces, as for the pot, and as flesh within the cauldron. Then shall they cry out unto the Lord, but he'll not hear them. He's not going to hear the people that are doing evil. He will even hide his face from them at that time, as they have behaved themselves ill in their doings. Thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that make the people to err, that bite with their teeth and cry, peace, and he that puts not in their mouth. They even prepare war against him. Therefore, night shall be unto you, that you shall not have a vision, and it shall be dark unto you, that you shall not divine, and the sun shall go down over the prophets, and the day shall be dark over them. Then shall the seers be ashamed, and the diviners confounded. Yea, they shall cover their lips, for there is no answer of God. But truly, I am full of power by the Spirit of the Lord, and of judgment, and of might, to declare unto Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. Hear this, I pray you, you heads of the house of Jacob, you princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment and pervert all equity. They build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. The heads thereof judge for reward. The priests, will they teach for hire? The prophets divine for money. Yet will they lean upon the Lord and say, is not the Lord among us? None evil can come upon us. Therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house of the high priests of the forests. That, my friends, is a strong rebuke against the people that you would think were the religious leaders, the heads of Jacob, the house of Israel, the people that say that they are Israel, but they're not. The people that say that they are Jews, but are not. Liars. Liars. I find it strange that today corrupt religious leaders, corrupt politicians, corrupt people are still where they are. But I tell you this, in a short period of time, you're going to see a lot of them brought to justice. Brought to justice. The wheels of fortune are turning. And it's time for the lies and the corruption to be corrected. And I think that all of this stuff that we were just watching, it may mean nothing. But if you look at it just symbolically, it's telling us something's coming. Judgment's coming. So, get your house in order, do the right thing, be kind, be loving, be good, and tell your friends to subscribe to my channel. All right? I love all of you. Hey, get yourself a copy of The Calling. Amazon. All the links are in the description below. You get yourself all the merch. I'm a Witness. Buckle up. All of this stuff. If you want to support the channel, it's the best way to do it. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for all of you who are supporting me and hitting like and sharing, and leave me a comment if you think that it's weird that Tomorrow War basically predicted the score of what's going on right now. Wild. Let's watch what's going on with Twitter too, because it's going to be interesting. The days ahead are going to be interesting. And I got a lot more to talk about. I'm going to save it for the next show. So in the meantime, I love you all. I thank you all. You really are just such a encouragement to me. Glad you all spent some time with me, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.